sometimes think the earth isn't round? He asked me as he looked up at the sky and brushed his palms against the wet blades of the green grass we found ourselves resting on, by the side of our houses that were separated by two houses in the middle. Only an idiot would think that, I scoffed, looking up at the same sky. No, I mean, doesn't it feel like it shapeshifts? Some days it's round, other days it's a triangle. It's like, how is it ever a triangle? I asked, cutting him off. It's just, it's just how I feel. He sighed. But how? How can you think it's a triangle sometimes? How? There must be some explanation behind you thinking that. Surely there has to be, I said, glaring at him. It feels like it has three vertices at times, a black one, a white one, and a grey one in the middle at the point where the other two unite. They keep saying everything that goes around comes around, but I don't think it does. I think all three vertices are separate of each other, retaining their own properties and yet all merge into one at some point. It's like the yeses, the nos, and the maybes. The yes and the no merge at the third point, the maybe. I think that's more like the planet we live on, rather than a spherical bowl. That's why that's why I said a triangle, you see? He finished, with enthusiasm coating the tip of his tongue. The earth being spherical has nothing to do with the yes, the no, or the maybe. That is grammar. We made grammar. The earth being round isn't something we made, it's a fact. The shape of our planet has nothing to do with English as a language, and it's not limited by the capacities of the mere words yes, no, or maybe. It's like, no, no, I get it. But aren't shapes also just mere words? For instance, what is round? What is a triangle? And how do we know it has three vertices? Matter of fact, what is even three and how are we able to count it? Isn't all of that possible because of grammar? Because of the magic of language? So why can't we know? But that's not the point. We still know the earth is round, right? I mean, there's proof out there, there's data, there's images from space. The sphere has an inner and outer core. If you look at a ship from a faraway distance on the shore sailing towards the edge, you can clearly see it isn't going to fall off. Instead, it's going to trace the curve which is the shape of the earth. I mean, if it had vertices, it would have fallen off the steep corner. What I'm meaning to say is the earth is round, always. It doesn't shape shift into a triangle or any other shape, matter of fact. If it did, that would wreak havoc. As I finished my statement, I took a deep breath in. It's not about the facts. Even I know it can't change its shape, and I know that is a fact. I'm just saying it feels so at times, because of the yes, no's, and maybes. He sighed. But it can't. It's not possible, don't you get it? I said, ruffled up and adamant. I get it. But feelings can be anything. Tomorrow I can wake up and say I feel green is not green, it's purple, and you can't correct me. What is green and purple anyway? They are words we created to denote seeing something we didn't understand. Like you said, they are just grammar. Who knows, maybe the gods call green purple and purple orange, or maybe none of this at all. They probably have their own ways to denote these colors. Anyway, the point is, I can choose to see it however I like. What are colors, Lucas? They are just perceptions. Who says mine has to be the same as yours or as the rest of the round planet? It ain't about the facts, Val. Life is so much more fun when you ignore them a little. I mean, they made a whole field of study on brushing aside the truth that is in plain sight and on finding the one which is hidden, which probably doesn't even exist, except for in our heads. He smirked, stretched out his arms, and laid back on the grass. Philosophy? I said. Philosophy, he answered. remember walking back home with him, facing his back as he walked back to his. There was nothing extraordinary about that evening. We didn't talk about anything important that concerned either of us. We barely spent a couple hours together that we technically stole from the jar of time as if loose change from our dad's pockets. But somehow, after almost 20 years, drunk in the backseat of a taxi, I remember that evening clear as yesterday. Another conversation that replays time and again occurred on that fateful night of November in the park situated on the edge of that frozen lake. The world would be a better place if everybody cared less, don't you think? I said, gaping at the jagged charm of that frozen lake. Or if a few certain people cared more, the world would be a better place, he suggested. If people cared less about what mischief others were up to, about getting somewhere all the time rushing, about opinions, about the need to give judgment, about getting validated, about the desire to seem perfect with a perfect family, a perfect job, a perfect social circle, about wanting to please people who can never be pleased, about all that pretension, you see? Yeah, but if rich people cared more about the poor, abusive people cared more about the consequences of inflicting abuse, narcissists about the feelings of others, sane about the insane, intellectuals about the fools, abled for the disabled, and cherished for the ridiculed, then I feel the world would be a better place, he stated. Probably, I remarked.